everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the first Conversations with Jonas of 2026. Very grateful. My guest today, Don Close. Don is an actor, a filmmaker, a director, a screenwriter.
All the above, yes.
All of the above. So I'm grateful to you for being here. Thanks for being my first of 2026.
Thanks for having me.
Great. So Don, let's have a conversation.
Let's go.
All right, great. So film. It's about as broad a subject as any other. I'm a huge lover of films and actors and directors, and so I'd like to start with the beginnings of your love of film. What was sort of the catalyst to connecting with films for you?
Well, I'd like to say it was movie theaters, like a lot of people say, but no, that's not the case. We were very poor growing up.
Okay.
So my mom, at the age of 24, got divorced with 4 kids. So we didn't have a lot of money. So a lot of my film watching was on TV. So my distant memory is, if you can go way back, is used to have what they call the Late Show, and then the Late Late Show. And I remember at the age of like 7 or 8, just everybody be sleeping, and I'd watch the Late Show by myself and watch James Cagney and Humphrey Bogart and all those guys. And then I'd watch the Late Late Show if I could stay up late enough. And that's how I got hooked on it. And it was just, everybody was asleep, so it was just me and the TV. Mm-hmm. So, and that got me pulled in. So
understand that's a unique relationship.
Yeah, because you can't afford to go out, so you're home, and you connect to that one visual, and it takes you on a journey. And for those 2 hours, you're just lost. And it's, that's what I think film is. A good film, anyway, is you're taken on a journey. Mm-hmm. You leave your reality, you leave all the problems behind, and you're just taking this journey with whoever's on the screen.
Sure, and a great film, particularly in a movie theater, it's almost like church. It's this communal, everybody sort of being moved, collectively. And
well, don't get me wrong. I mean, my experience, I call it pull in, was in TV, but being in a theater. Well, I think that's even sad to say it doesn't happen, but most filmmakers, their objective is to see it on the big screen. Mm-hmm. That's the one thing you want to see, because anything could be on a screen. You take your iPhone out and you can put it on a screen. So most of us filmmakers want it on the big screen, but the nature of the business is it probably will just end up streaming or on somebody's TV, and getting it into a theater today it's very difficult. But the dream of a filmmaker is that big screen in that room with people quietly watching. With that's the dream.
Yeah, and being moved. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you remember the first movie you saw in a movie theater?
Jaws.
Jaws. Okay.
Jaws.
That was one of my early ones too. Yeah.
I remember the line. That's why I wanted to go. I was like, I couldn't afford it, but I was like, the line was like 3 blocks long, and I was like, "Whoop, I got to see this movie," And that was it. Jaws was, it was.
Yeah, it was one of the first blockbusters, for that term.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what a journey that movie it still is.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it was, and the way they made it, and the things that went wrong, and it just it's something I really connect to. Like a lot of young filmmakers will talk to me about how to make a film, and they'll talk about how they want to create these moments, and they got this certain moment and work with the actors, and I'm like, in a low budget movie, it's not so much moments as it is solving problems. As a director, you're constantly solving problems when there's no money involved. And so the fact in Jaws that the shark broke down and Steven Spielberg found a way to make it even more interesting just is fascinating to me. So
Yeah. The shark is working. There's stories about that. Yeah. And so how do you feel about the music in film, speaking about Jaws, because the music was a character in that film, pretty much. There
was a score. The score, dun, 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 it was amazing, But the score is, in all my films, the score is very important. Another thing I tell filmmakers is they tend to overdo the score. It's great in certain situations. In certain situations, you just have silence. But yeah, but even music in general, when you bring that up, I jump to somebody else. One of the best filmmakers that uses music in his films is Scorsese, and he uses songs.
Yeah,
He uses music.
he's a music nut.
Yeah, and I'm actually watching the documentary now and his editor Thelma, screenmaker. She was saying that by the time he gets to the editing room, he has songs picked out for certain moments. She's just, yeah,
Yeah, it's
incredible.
part of his vision.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure. In Goodfellas, when Layla, the outro to Layla is playing, it's when they're showing all the bodies that
yeah,
have,
yeah.
it's,
Cut yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
really,
But the music is important. One of the, I guess, the feedbacks of my short, I did maybe 5 years ago. It's called In Your Eyes. In My Eyes. I'm sorry. In My Eyes. My lead actor Steven always says In Your Eyes. Steven Randazzo. He's a working actor, but he's like 78 now, and he gets the title wrong. So it's In My Eyes, and I did the festival circuit, and one of the main feedbacks was the music. So so I was proud about that. It's another aspect of filmmaking, and people really loved the music because it's a sentimental story. So I had certain songs I picked out, and they got a lot of good feedback about the music. So it is important.
that's terrific.
Yeah.
That was that the grandfather and his granddaughter that In Your Eyes?
It's
In my
in my
in my
eyes,
eyes.
but that's not why I'm smiling, because it's not his granddaughter. You have to see it, but she
Okay.
is a young girl, but
Okay.
it's not his granddaughter.
I see. I see.
But there is a connection with the two of them. I can't give it away because it's the whole story.
No, no, no. I understand.
But it's only 15 minutes short, so
Right, right. Okay.
yeah,
In My Eyes.
yeah.
All right.
And Steven won a couple of Best Actor awards for it. He did a great job.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah,
That's terrific. So let's talk a bit about your films. Made Men, right? 1997.
Yes,
Okay.
that was my first feature.
That was your first feature. Now, you wrote that as well?
Yes, I wrote that with my partner, Jimmy. James Babiri is his name.
James Babiri,
That's his name on
a working actor, to say the least.
Yeah, he's out of my group of friends. He's worked the most. So
Yeah.
I told you Ocean's 8 and Drive and stuff. In Drive, Ryan Gosling beats him up with a hammer. It's a great scene. So yeah, he's a good friend. So
A cinematic distinction, yeah.
yeah, so he's basically in 90% of my movies. So we're together for a long time. But yeah, we wrote Made Men together.
Mm-hmm.
Made Men was I like the title because it's a double entendre, because we combined both our. Well, the thing is Jimmy and I met at the actor studio. We were both acting at the time, trying to make it and stuff. And we met at the actor studio. We became friends, and then we started talking about our personal stories. And he grew up in the Bronx, and I grew up in Corona, Queens, and we were both. I wouldn't say we weren't a part of it, but we were around. What's the word I want to use carefully here? Organized crime.
I understand.
We were around organized crime people. So we had our own stories about what happened to us growing up as teenagers. And we started writing something. And then I was like, a lot of those movies have been done. Federal Hill had been done before, a couple other films. So I wanted to incorporate the fact that I was raised by my mom alone. And it was the four of us, so I didn't have a father figure.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to work on maybe my character trying to grow up and become a man when he finds out his girlfriend's pregnant. So thus the title Made Men. It's not only about organized crime, but
Sure.
a boy becoming a man. So that was the story we put together. That was our first feature. And as we talked about earlier, Aida Turturro was in it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Frank Vincent. Frank
who-
passed away. But
Who go on to
yeah.
Sopranos. Well, Frank Vincent, really
I got a
legendary
Frank
guy.
Vincent story if you got time.
Please, let's hear it.
This is one of my favorite stories. So me and Jimmy are trying to get this film off the ground, and back then, filmmaking was different. You didn't have the video, so we had to shoot on film, and film was not cheap, and we weren't going to shoot it on 16. We wanted something big. We wanted 35 millimeter, so we had to raise the money. So we got 12 actors to be in the film who also invested $5,000. So we got some starting money. And then Jimmy's girlfriend in a restaurant, she approached one of these hedge fund guys, and he had just hit it big, and he said, "Give me the script," and then he cut a check. So we were on our way. So
Wow.
yeah, so we got the film off the ground, and we're trying to get now the lead actors, and we wanted to get somebody with some names to help sell it, because when you're in the film business and you're trying to sell your film, the first thing they ask you is who's in it. Doesn't matter what the story is. Doesn't matter what connection you have to it. Who's in it? That's because they want to make money. So we wanted to get some names. So Jimmy. Well, the funny thing, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but Aida Turo first. Aida, I was auditioning for an off-Broadway play back then called Tony and Tina's Wedding. And I had gotten through the second callback, and it was down to me and two other guys. So they sent us to see the play. So we had to go see the play. So I went to see the play, and Aida comes out, and she's in character. She doesn't know who I am because I was just there to watch. I didn't know anybody. And for some reason or other, she picks me out, and she's just flirting with me for like a half an hour. And I was like, sure, she's good. She's good. Anyway, that was it. And then a year later, I'm in construction. I was renovating an apartment in Soho, and these two brothers bought it. The Kessler brothers, and we became friends. We played basketball together, and we talked. And it turns out that one of the brothers was the producer of Sopranos. So he invited me over for a Christmas dinner. It was a party, and I go to the party, and Aida's there. And
Again,
I said to her, I met you at the play. She goes, I remember you. I was like, oh. So we started talking, and then all of a sudden, somehow or another, my friend Jimmy comes up, and she's good friends with him. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that. So to this day, her and Jimmy was at her house for Christmas Eve. They're still close friends. But anyway, back to the Frank Vincent story. So Aida was in. She was very nice to help us out. And then for Frank Vincent, I wanted him for the part of the organized crime boss. So I didn't know how to get a hold of him, so I reached out to his agent and got no response. So I waited 2 weeks. No response. About a month, I called him directly, and I was like, I'm trying to get an answer from you. He goes, I tried a few times, not getting back to me. I was like, we're shooting in 2 weeks. He's perfect, and I really would like to at least talk to him. So he's passed away. I really shouldn't say it, but
No.
now that he's passed away, it's okay.
I know.
So the agent says to me, look, I'm going to give you his number, but don't say you got it from me. I said, thank you so much. So he gives me his number. So, you know, I'm an actor, first-time filmmaker. I don't know much about the business. So I call him up. It's his home number. And this is what I hear. Hello. I said, Mr. Vincent? Yeah. I said, hi, my name is Don Close. I'm a filmmaker, and I want to talk to you about a project I got putting together. And how'd you get my number? I got friends in the business. Some of them know you, and they gave me a number, and and I just want to get the script to you because you're perfect for the part. And if I could just get it to you, I think you would love it. All right. This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna take Route 3 in New Jersey. You're gonna go such exit. You're gonna get off, make a right, and there's a used car dealership. Drop the script off. I was like, oh, okay. So me and my friends, we take a ride out there. I go into this guy at the desk. I said, I got a script for Frank Vincent. He goes, yeah, leave it on the desk. I said, oh, okay. So about a week goes by. He calls me up. I read the script. I said, oh, okay. He goes, I can do it. He goes, what's the number? I said, we can give you $2,000 a day for 3 days' work. Cash in an envelope. I said, oh, okay. And he was in.
How beautiful is that?
So that's my Frank Vincent story.
It's great.
And he was great. He was professional. He was on time. He was friendly. Even though we were all unknowns, he treated us nicely. He was a sweetheart. So it worked out great.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, he was a wonderful actor. I mean, for those who aren't familiar with the name, he was whacked in a lot of Martin Scorsese movies.
He's the guy in the trunk in Goodfellas, yes.
Yeah, and he was Phil Leotardo in The Sopranos,
Yes.
wonderful characterization. And getting back to Aida for me was the scariest of the Sopranos. She, the depths of that performance were, really,
Which is
really
funny because in
wonderful.
real life, she's like always laughing, cracking jokes. She's
I'm
always
sure.
cracking jokes.
I'm sure. I could see it. So the sort of the antithesis of Janice, who was just this really tortured, dark,
Yeah.
lost person. And I noticed in those years, the late '90s, early 2000. The Soprano, a lot of the people in The Sopranos and other films, there's sort of this East Coast, right, contingent, maybe New York or East Coast, like Steve Buscemi, right, and Jimmy Rispoli, and a lot of these people that always popped up in each other's films, and it's just great to see their careers, their trajectories, where they would all work together in these different projects, and sometimes one would be directing, or maybe one wrote it. So I always was, I always was moved to see that.
Well, it's funny you said they'll bring up those names because Stephen Randazzo, he's a good friend of mine now that we've done that film together 6 years ago. And so we're actually talking about doing a film together now. But he goes way back. He started out with Buscemi and Turturro. And they're still friends. And he was in like 3 films with Steve. And Stephen did a short last year. And afterwards, there was a Q&A, and Buscemi came up to run it. So it was very sweet. So they're still friends to this day. Yeah.
That's terrific. So lasting relationships, right?
Yeah.
Enduring friendships. That's that's a wonderful thing. It's not. You sometimes hear a lot of stories that don't quite go that way,
Yeah.
especially in creative industries. But
Yeah, I got stories about that, but we won't talk about that.
no, I understand. Some of your other shorts, right? Back to One.
Mm-hmm.
There's a short film.
Yes.
Black Hamlet, which I love that title.
It was before its time. I never got it off as a feature, which would have been great, but it was before its time. It was actually about an intersexual. When I first wrote that 14 years ago, this whole operation, transgender wasn't around back then. So
right.
now it's very popular, so the film wouldn't go. But that story was about a young man who was trying to work his way out in life, being an intersexual. So that's what that was about. So, and Black Hamlet is actually a fish that has both sexes.
Okay.
That's the title. That's what it was.
Right. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That that's great. That's great. So now with Forgive Me, Father, right? You were the you're the producer, right? And that also stars James Biberi.
James wrote it. That's his first feature. He wanted to direct it, so he asked me to help him, and I did. And that was a very low budget film, and he did a great job. And that's actually at the festival markets now in Europe. So we'll see. We make some sales on that. But it's doing the rounds now in distribution. So it takes time. Like we talked before, is so when you finish your film, you want to get it into festivals because if you can get some buzz, increases the money you can get for it.
Sure.
But the festival circuit takes time. So say like today I wanted to get into a festival. I would submit the film. Then you have to wait till the submissions close, which is a certain date, which is probably 2 months from now. After that, you have to wait for the judging, which is another 2 months. Once you're selected, the festival is 3-4 months from there. So even if you get into a festival, it takes 7-8 months to get to it. So, and then you submit to others. So if you do submit for the next 3 months, that last one might not get in for a year. So it takes a year to do the festival circuit. And then after you've done that, which is what Forgive Me, Father is, because it was 3 years now, is then you get a distributor and they take it to the markets. And so that's where it's at now.
Right. Now, I wanted to talk about some of the themes in Forgive Me, Father. I mean, the title alone, right? Forgive me, Father, that you go into a confessional, right? Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. So were you raised particularly with Catholicism, or the?
Well, again, I didn't write it, but
Okay, I see.
I did get raised Catholic, and we had a lot of trouble with the church scene. We had to get an abandoned church and set it up as a recent church. So I don't know, just know people. Jimmy makes a phone call, and some guy says, "I just bought a building. It used to be a church." So we took it, and we went to a prop house, and we got all the crucifix, and then we set it all up, candles, and we made it into a real church. But Jimmy also, because he wrote it, it is close to him. He was an altar boy, and he had a personal story with a friend of his that things happened, and it bothered him to this day. So he wrote the story, and it's about being abused by a priest. And that's why it's Forgive Me, Father. And so it's a journey of a man who gets out of jail after 20 years, and he's trying to get his life straight. And he sees the priest that abused him, and he just loses it.
But the sins of the past are not forgotten.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So as he's trying to get his life together, he sees the priest, and everything falls apart.
And there's your conflict, to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a popular series called Ray Donovan that was on with Liev Schreiber, and it delved into a lot of that. It's really pretty visceral,
It's down that lane. I did talk to Jimmy about that when he wrote it, but this particular character goes on a revenge tour of people who are accused of molesting boys, not priests, just anybody, and he goes after them.
Right.
So he's like a
vigilante. In a sense.
Yeah.
But a vigilante seeking redemption?
Yes.
Yeah. So can a vigilante receive redemption? It's an interesting...
I don't want to give away the ending, but that's what the ending comes to, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and Jimmy does a great job in the final scene.
Yeah, well, again, he's I love him in Hightown. He's a really strong actor, and I recognize him. But again, I'm pretty, for somebody who's not an actor, I know a lot about movies and directors, and I'm a big fan. As I said earlier, I have been, since I'm very young, and I've always had an affinity for it. I would remember lines from scripts and things like that. So
we still do that. We actually call each other Charlie. There's 5 of us. So the Pope of Greenwich Village, and Charlie, they took my thumb, Charlie.
Took my thumb.
That's our line. So for the 5 of us, we don't say our names. We say Charlie. We say, Charlie, give me a glass of water. And then my niece would be there. She go, who's Charlie? It's fun. Yeah.
I have a couple of friends, Junior. We call each other Junior or June, and other people from outside will be like, who's June? So I love having things like that in friendships, though. It's a very human thing. And
we don't even realize it. Been doing it for 25 years. So when somebody says, "Who's Charlie?" we're like, "Oh, I didn't realize he even said that." So
right. Yeah, it's funny that you have that, because I have that, as I said, with a couple of friends. We call each other June or Junior.
Yeah.
And then, of course, on The Sopranos, Uncle June. Who Dominic Chianese got. God bless him. He's I thought. I mean, for me, and for many others, he was kind of the heart of the show, Junior. And of course, Dominic's portrayal was so, layered and subtle and over the top and funny.
Very funny.
Very funny. Again, that's, I suppose The Sopranos will always kind of have this high water mark. And
it's funny you mentioned, well, we're talking about a lot of things, but Sopranos, another point to make out was, so when we were writing Made Men, I was trying to think of the casting. And this was 95. And, Sopranos, I think, was 99. This is 4 years before Sopranos. Mm-hmm. But I was trying to cast it, and besides Frank Vincent's part, he has a right-hand henchman, ended up being played by Johnny Roast Beef, he was in Goodfellas as well, and he played that part. But I wanted Gandolfini, and I reached out to his agent, and he was busy on another film.
Okay, and he did Angie with Aida Turturro and
They're
Gina
friends.
Davis.
Yes,
Yeah,
they are friends.
yeah.
Yeah.
I spotted Gandolfini early in his career and was a big fan of his.
Just as a guess of mine, I don't know if it's sure. I speak to Aida, it never came up, but I would believe that maybe he got her into the casting room because they were good friends before Sopranos came up.
Mm-hmm.
So he might have gotten her in to audition for it and she got the part.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
It's friends help friends, right? It's
Well, yeah, she still had to get the part. You know what I
David
mean?
Chase would have had to like her.
Yeah. But
right.
the thing is, what we do is people in the go, oh, I know so and so. You need to read them; they're pretty good. And then they'll call them in to, you get your foot in the door.
Right.
You have to get the part, but at least somebody says, oh, I know somebody who could do that.
Yeah, I think Annabella Sciorra probably also, she came in as Gloria Trillo, but she was in a lot of the early work too.
She played the lead in Tony and Tina's Wedding, which that's how she got started.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there was a movie called, is it True Love or True Something?
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. So I wonder if there was some of that when Gloria Trillo was either being written or they were talking about casting her. I wondered hey, Annabella would probably be great for this. She's very beautiful. And I met her when I lived in Los Angeles. There was at the time, God, this has to go back to the mid-90s. There was a series of Gap commercials where celebrities were, as themselves, they were either sitting on a chair singing a song, and I was hired as a musical consultant on the series of these commercials.
Okay.
And Annabella Sciorra was one of them, and she played piano a little bit. So, I guess there's a lot of value in, people say, or having these friendships, maintaining them. Oh, I know this guy would be great for this, and this guy would be great for that. And like Joe Pantoliano, right? Ralph Cifaretto, Joey Pants. So he's from Philly, right? Yeah. But he also popped up in a lot of these great movies and TV shows. And so I guess there's oh my God, Ralph Cifaretto.
Yeah.
And Bound, which is one of my that's the Wachowski brothers, right? Before The Matrix.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a great movie. Did they also do Shallow Grave, which has a similar sort of feel to Bound?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm curious if they did, but yeah, Bound is I love that movie. That Chris Maloney is in that, and he of course was on Oz, and he went on to one of the CSIs, I think.
Gina Gershon.
So yeah, that's those the Law and Orders, right? All set in New York. Everybody that we're talking about was probably in several episodes of Law
Everybody
and
we
Orders.
talked about, all of my fellow actors have all been on Law and Order.
Right,
Yes.
right. Yeah. It was a real New York.
If you're a New York actor, you were on Law and Order. Yes.
Yeah. I think it's great. I probably, as many people, watch the reruns. And Jerry Orbach, he should rest in peace. Also, really.
Yes.
Really terrific. For those who don't know, he was the dad in Dirty Dancing, among many other great roles.
Yeah, he's classic.
So I know Kimbra, my wonderful producer, is a filmmaker and a screenwriter, and we had talked about approaching the subject of financing, which seems to be probably the filmmaker's, greatest obstacle or greatest challenge. And how do you get stuff financed?
I have no idea.
That's probably the most honest answer.
Well, I could tell you how people I know raise money, but there's no set formula.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's for my first feature, we got some friends, and like I said before, and then one guy in a restaurant read the script and cut a check for $100,000. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, I don't know, but the last couple of films. For Forgive Me, Father, Jimmy got the script to a neighbor who he's a neighbor, but he owned the building. He owned the brownstone in the Village, and they had been friends for years. And he said, "Read the script. I'm trying to raise money for it. I want to direct it myself." He read the script, and he gave him a check. And it wasn't for the whole film, but it was definitely enough to get started.
Enough to get it off the ground, right?
And for the one we just did now, Evil Insight, my partner, Fiore DeRosa, he was doing screenwriting competitions. And somewhere along the way at one of the competitions, he had been at a party or a award ceremony, and he met a woman, and he gave her the script, and she read it, and she gave him a check a week later. So I don't know what the formula is, but if you find the right person,
Sounds like luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Timing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this is for us. I mean, we're low budget. I mean, like Evil Insights, we had like, I'd like to say, without production, an 8-man crew, and we shot a feature with just the 8 of us. I can't tell you that I'd be shooting a scene because we took over the hospital.
Yes,
Right, where
yes.
we shot 5 locations in that abandoned hospital. We recreated it, and I remember shooting the scene in the interrogation room, and I could see I'm watching the monitor, and the actors are going, and I have the camera moving, and all of a sudden I say cut, and I was like, oh, I forgot to paint the wall. Somebody give me a roller, and I'm like. All right. And that's all right. Let's go back to one and go it again.
Talk about grassroots, right?
Yeah. So it was a very low budget, but I bring that up only because people who work more than I do, who actually make films, their low budget is $3 to $5 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Big difference
Yeah.
from what we do. We're doing 300,000-400,000. So those people who do it for 3 or 5 million, they have connections. They finish one film. They have a certain line of people who are gonna give them money. That's different. People like us, we're just begging.
Right,
So
right.
it's a different level.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
I know the kind of filmmakers like the Jim Jarmushes, right? And who do brilliant work, but it's certainly for their fans. Again, Jim Jarmusch, people can look him up. He's done so much work. But
He's unique.
my favorite of his is Only Lovers Left Alive. I don't know if you've seen that one. It's with Tilda Swinton and Chris Eccleston. They're centuries-old vampires.
Oh,
And John Hurt is in it, and he plays a character named Marlowe, who's actually William Shakespeare. He's still
sounds familiar.
alive. That's my favorite, and it's it's a Jarmusch film,
It's a
but
little different.
it's one of my favorites. I would suggest everybody try and see it if you haven't seen it yet.
Right.
And so, Evil Insight, a little asterisk to this. My girlfriend Lisa and I were background extras at the haunted hospital. I don't think we made it to the final cut, but we don't take it personally.
If you have my baby, please let her go.
This is him! Don't move!
Are you saying that there's a dead woman here in the room with us?
Yes.
You can communicate with the dead.
It was a lot of fun, though. It was a lot of fun. As I said, I don't have a lot of acting experience. I've ended up in a couple of things just because I lived in Los Angeles. But it's really a fascinating. It's really a fascinating thing, and when you really think about it, from the ground up, it starts with a script, right? That's whoever is laboring over this script, and then you talk about luck. How many scripts are out there?
Yeah.
So just to get your script read by somebody who has some kind of influence, that's also, a miraculous path.
Yep.
It's and I know that I know there's a lot of an Alan Smithy film. Do you know the story about? You probably do.
Yes.
Of course you do. again,
You want to tell them who Alan Smithy is?
for those who don't know, Alan Smithy didn't exist. It was, if you saw that name on a film, an Alan Smithy film, it was because they weren't sure. Nobody wanted to take the blame
Yes,
for it.
nobody
right?
wanted to
Nobody
be attached
wanted-
to it. Yes. Yeah.
Nobody wanted to take the blame for it, but they got financed and made anyway, right? Which
Yes.
is, kind of
That can't happen in the sense if the director doesn't have final cut.
right.
So now he's dependent on whoever's cutting it to make the film the best it can be. And the director looks at that cut where he has no control over it and he hates it. Take my name off it. So
Yeah. Again, it's a strange and wonderful world, right? the world of films, to say the least.
well, that's the hardest. I hate to cut you off there, but
No, please.
like I was just offered a directing gig, and I got an email from the producer, and he made it very clear that he was going to be very hands-on, very much in control, and he's also the writer.
Okay.
And so I said, so where are we going with final cut? He goes, oh, that would be me. So I passed. As a director, some people don't care, I don't know, but most directors will tell you if that vision goes up on the screen and your name says directed by you and it's not your vision. That's where Alan Smithy comes in.
That's where Alan Smithy comes in, right?
And I wasn't going to take that chance. So
Yeah. No, I understand.
Yeah.
You deserve, to have final say, right? You're
But it's hard. I mean, I get both sides because the producer-writer, he spent his, 6 months writing that script. He found the money, right? So he wants some control, which I get. But you can't have a director who's just going to, put the film together and then you're going to take it over. I mean, it can happen. It does happen, but that's not something I would do. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. It's similar in music.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm a musician. That's more my thing.
Right.
So I understand the frustration of trying to marry art to commerce. It's not always a.
Well, even with Evil Insight, Fiore De Rosa, he co-directed with me. He wrote it and he found the money for it. So when we got to the editing room, 95% of it we agreed on it, but the 5% that we didn't, I had to take a step back because he found the money. He wrote it. He gets a little more clout than I do. You know what I mean? So
sure,
I accept. I wasn't happy because as a visionary, you're not happy, but I understood it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's my friend for 25 years, so I'm
Right.
like, I get it.
So then there's other dynamics kind of brought into it. Right.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, as a director, you have a certain connection, but also as a realist, you got to say, this guy did all this. This is his baby. You know what I mean? So even though you're frustrated as an artist, you got to take a step back and go, he deserves it. You know what I mean? So the final 5%, if this is where he wanted to go, that's where we went. So,
Right. Right. Now,
But most of it, we were together. So
Sure. So early on, if it's delineated, so as you said, with this project you were offered, but you wouldn't receive final say, and that's not something you're interested in. You want to have final cut, final approval.
It was the final cut, but it's a different medium. Like in television, that wouldn't happen. In television, it's a different medium. Directors come and go. Producers control the show. So you come in, you're on set, you're directing the camera and the actors, and then you're done.
Right.
The producers take over, which is television. But for a film, up on the screen, the director would try to have final cut. So,
It's the final credit.
Yeah.
Right at the opening of the film.
Well, it's just hard to watch a film that says your name on it, and then you watch it, and it's like, that's not what
That's not my film.
Not my vision.
Yeah.
So that would be hard.
Yeah.
So
I can imagine that must, it just must be very off-putting.
Yeah.
And so when a director, somebody we talked about Martin Scorsese, and there's many others we can list. When someone like that, right, with that pedigree, that proven track record, do they Do they meet with a lot of opposition as far as final say or final cut?
Oh no,
Right.
there's no opposition.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look back, I don't know if you've seen the Scorsese documentary, but his early films, even like Taxi Driver.
Schrader wrote that. Paul Schrader
Yeah.
wrote that. Yeah.
Yeah. Even with Taxi Driver, the final cut, they were almost going to give him an X rating because there was too much blood, and the producers wanted to change it, and they couldn't because he said no, he has final cut. So they had a medium where they changed the color of the blood to brown, and that's how it got past the X rating. But that was Scorsese's call because he had final cut. You couldn't just do what you wanted. So that's part of the business of films being in trouble with producers don't think it's going to work out, but director has final cut. You have to work together to try to make it work.
I see.
So-
yeah, and that was early in his career. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And De Niro's, Harvey
Yeah.
Keitel.
Yeah.
Peter Boyle's terrific in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Scorsese even acts in it.
Yes,
He's in the
in the
cab,
backseat,
right?
yeah.
Do actors do that, or do directors do that for a financing standpoint because it costs less,
No.
for them to do it rather than to hire an actor? No,
No,
it's
not at
just
all.
they're frustrated actors, maybe.
I don't know about Scorsese if he ever wanted to act, but yeah, like,
He's done a fair amount of it.
and there are quite a few directors who've come from acting. So yeah, even the films I do, I am an actor. So, but I know focusing on directing, I wouldn't want to be in a large part, but I'll do two scenes, just for the fun of it. I know I can act, and if it's something small, I'll be a part of it. It's not for monetary reasons though.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's
okay.
just for the fun of it, you get that other part of you besides directing. You get to act. It's still creative.
Yeah, I would imagine most people who end up directing probably had an early acting bug. I would, certainly love a film,
Right.
but I would imagine most people who direct probably had an affinity for acting at some point.
Could be, I don't know, but the actors who do go on to directing probably do a little scene here and there just to get it. Well, I think there was even a saying that Alfred Hitchcock, he wouldn't act, but he would be an extra.
would appear, yeah.
somewhere in a scene. He would put himself, no acting, but
No,
you would see him.
usually in a comedic.
Yeah. Yeah.
With all the dogs
Yeah.
and yeah.
So
that and then there's people like Tarantino whose acting skills some might call a bit suspect. As a director, he certainly has a unique vision, and his films are terrific. But as an actor, I could see people questioning, some of his work.
yeah. Well,
But what are you going to do? He's Quentin Tarantino.
we'll have a Tarantino story too.
I do too, but let me hear yours.
Oh, okay. So my Tarantino story started out in '94.
Pulp Fiction.
It was
That's the
was
year.
it about the same. I don't know if it came out before. It was after. I think it was about 6 months before. The film wasn't out yet.
Okay.
So the big thing was Reservoir Dogs, and I had an acting group, and we had to focus on advancing our careers. There was 4 actors. We would meet and we'd all put our heads together and try and help each other take a step up and find a way to get people to notice us. So I took on, my idea was to do it was supposed to be a short, but back then I had a video camera, VHS. I was like, I'm going to take my VHS camera and I'm going to do a spoof, and I'm going to include all these little things that Tarantino does with the Mexican standoff, and everybody's got a weapon pointed at each other and there's a lot of blood. I'm going to do a spoof, and I'm going to include different movies and use Tarantino's ideas in them. And so I did this short, my little VHS camera, and I had all my friends, and I would go around and say, help me out with this. And I did a spoof of Saturday Night Fever, had my friends acting by the Brooklyn Bridge, and I would come over and go, Tony, she wants to have the baby. You remember that?
Yeah, of course, sure.
So we do a little spoof like that, and then I go back to the story I was doing about a stolen car. And my friend dressed up as John Travolta with a 3-piece white suit would say, I don't know, I didn't see the car, and leave us alone. And I say, okay, Tony. And then I made these shoes with heels like this big, and I would walk away. So
That's
anyway,
great.
I did this little short. Ended up being like 40 minutes long by the time I finished it. But so I put it together, and it was sloppy. It was bad acting. Half the stuff I set up a camera on a tripod, and I just talk to myself like somebody's there, and then I get them to do their scenes like next week, just so I could get it done. And so I sent it to Tarantino's office, and I got a call from his assistant, and she was like, "So I got this. What do you want to do about it?" And I was like, well, I'd like to meet you for lunch. And this is in L.A.
So you sent a VHS tape?
A VHS tape.
A VHS tape. Okay,
I sent it to
love
her. So she called me up, and so I'd like to meet you for lunch. And she was like, well, you're in New York. I'm in L.A. And I was like, well, my mother works for the airlines. I fly for free. So I could just come out next week and see you for the day. She goes, if you want to fly out here, sure. So I flew out there. We met for lunch. We talked about what I wanted to do, and it was only like an hour. We didn't really accomplish anything, but she said keep in touch. And a few months went by. I wrote Made Men with Jimmy, and I sent it to her. And I was looking to cast Matt Dillon for my part. Oh, no, sorry, no. I was going to play the lead, and we were looking for a director at that point. And I met her for lunch again, and she had read the script. And I said, I told her my story. I told her how it connected to it. And I was like, but I don't know who I can get to direct it. We don't have a lot of money. And she said, I think you should direct it. And I was like, really? She goes, yeah, you connected to it. You know the characters. I said, okay, interesting. So then I went on to that. And then I was looking to cast my part with Matt Dillon. And we couldn't get him. And that's when Jimmy said, I didn't really trust any other actor. I said, he says, why don't you do both? You direct and play the part, and we'll have the DP help you. And that's what we did. So because of Tarantino's assistant, we were friends for about 3 years. She gave me the push. So that's how I got into directing. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
My Tarantino story is not as layered. There was a restaurant in Hollywood called Toy, T-O-I. It's this eclectic. I mean, even inside, it's. I mean, they've got pieces of pinball machines hanging and dragons, and it's a Thai fusion place. Anyway, they have this big chessboard, and you could literally like sit around it. The king is an old Galliano bottle filled with sand. It's this big chessboard. So one time, Quentin Tarantino was in there. He used to frequent the place, actually. He probably still does. And he was sitting at the chessboard, and he was reading, or he was writing. And I just, kind of walked over, and he looked at me, and I moved the pawn. And we ended up playing a game of chess. We didn't talk much, and he beat me in about 13 moves.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, we didn't talk much, and I said, thanks so much. And I said, I wish you continued success. He said, hey, thanks a lot. And there's my Quentin Tarantino story.
Well, as connected as I was to his assistant, you got more than I did. One time we were having, I think it was breakfast in a diner, and he walked by us, and he said something to her. He looked at me and just smiled. I was like, that's that. We never spoke.
And there you have it. Yeah. Yeah. I had a couple of friends that were in Pulp Fiction. My friend Dwayne Whitaker was... he was one of the pawn shop guys, Maynard. He was Maynard, and a couple of other people I had met over the years. Had done some work with him, and as we mentioned earlier, I'm a big fan of not all of his work, but a lot of it.
And Spike Lee. Spike Lee is another. He's got his vision. When you see a Spike Lee movie, he's got the way he works the camera. He has his own unique talent as well. So
and New York, hey,
that's why I love him.
Yeah.
All my films are around the New York area.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do. So yeah, I like to incorporate that. Like I'm writing a script now, and I was having trouble with the plot taking place in New York because it involves the death penalty.
Ah, okay, interesting.
So I'm writing the script, and I got New York City. He's an ex-New York City cop. Now he's working upstate, and I got this prisoner, and he's death row, and this and that. And I got like halfway, and I'm like, oh, damn, New York doesn't have the death penalty. So now I look it up, but Pennsylvania does. So I started rewriting it, and I'm going to make him a Pennsylvania cop. And I was like, that's not me.
It's not going to serve.
It's not
right?
me. So I changed it, and I did my research, and I found out, as you may know already, I just found out, but if it's a federal case, no matter what state you're in, you can be transferred and executed. So I said, all right, he's a New York cop again. And now they want to change his crime to a federal crime so they could execute him. So it still worked, but I wanted it to be New York.
I understand.
So-
Yeah, well, New York is a character in itself, right?
Yes,
How many?
I'm born and raised here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
In some movies, they use it. Some directors use it so well. Sidney Lumet, Prince of the City. New York was a character in that film, and Scorsese again. We can list many.
Like I said, that Tarantino thing I did on a VHS. It was called DCNY, and maybe 20% of my stuff, my video camera, I was just on the streets of New York. I got two guys busting a drug dealer, and I'm like 10 feet away with my camera, and they're like, what are you doing? And I got way back in the day, 42nd Street with all the theaters. You know what it used to look like?
Many people don't.
Yes.
I certainly do. I remember it very well.
And my car had a moonroof.
So
So I had a friend of mine drive, and I got up.
and you were able
And
to.
I got the whole movie, all those theaters with all the stuff going on. I got that. And I also got, I'm going to get specific here, but on the Lower West Side, back in the day, they weren't just working girls. They looked like girls, but they weren't. And I went down, and I got them, and they were waving at the camera.
Yeah.
They were showing themselves off.
Yeah.
And it's in the movie, So
And
it was my New York thing to Tarantino's. What it
Yeah.
was. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's-
Plus Saturday Night Fever, it's in New York, it takes place in New York. So that's what I was doing. So basically it was, the title is DCNY because of my initials and New York. So, and I want to give him a little take of his style spoofed, take place in New York.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, he's more of an L.A.
yeah.
guy, but and of course Woody Allen celebrates New York, so wonderfully,
Yes.
the architecture. And,
He's probably the king when it comes to New York movies. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Him and Spike.
He's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
peerless. I mean, if you really think about it, God bless me, he's still alive. I mean, he's not really working much anymore.
Well, he did get a little blacklisted from stuff that happened, so it was hard.
Crimes and Misdemeanors, which is probably my favorite. If I have to say favorite, that or at least that's the one that I can watch and enjoy, several over and over because of, the questions that it brings up are actually asked in the film itself. Martin Landau's character says, "Well, a man doesn't work hard his whole life just to watch himself go down the toilet, does he?" And that's a really deep question. Most people would say no, he does not watch himself go down the toilet after a lifetime of hard work. And but it's also an incredibly funny, but it also the moral questions. I just find that one, to be among his most enjoyable. And Hannah and her sisters too, because it's so funny, but also really moving and poignant. Michael Caine stalks the sister around New York, and it's obviously
Mighty Aphrodite, yeah, some stuff.
yeah, I'm a big fan. So how do you find it to be kind of strange that people are literally making movies with iPhones and things like that, or is that just kind of the wave of technology? People actually are making and editing movies on iPhones.
Well, I don't know if you heard my conversation yesterday. Getting a little weird in here now. So I spoke to Jimmy yesterday over that situation because he got the new iPhone. and he was amazed at the clarity, and he was like, "Yeah, because people are talking about doing films on an iPhone." He goes, and he could see it now, and I'm like, I was happy and disappointed at the same time. I'm like, yeah, anybody. A 12, 14-year-old can now make a movie with their iPhone. I mean, back when I was
And
growing
they're
up,
doing it.
when I was growing up, you needed a camera, you had a film. Now it's just a hell of a lot easier. So,
Yeah.
but great technology. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think so too. I
Yeah.
think so, and you sort of have to accept it, right?
Well, Stephen Lorenzo was talking about, my friend, the film he did last year that Buscemi did the Q&A. It was shot on an iPhone. So Alexander Rockwell, he did this film, In the Soup. It won the Sundance
I
Award.
love that movie with Seymour Cassell.
Yes.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
The
Jennifer
Sundance winner.
Beals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve's in it, and Alexander Rockwell called Steve up last year, and it's his film, and it's on an iPhone. So there you go. People are using it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. In the Soup. I hope more people will seek that one out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jimmy Rispoli's in that too.
Yes. And I'll be honest, I didn't know the film. I'm honest until I met Steve, and he was like, "I'm in this film. You should look at it." And then I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, shoot!"
Yeah.
It's funny.
Rodolfo, right? A film by Rodolfo, whatever the name was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one. Buscemi, obviously everybody should know who he is. He's done such a diverse body of work. I know he did a one-man show at one time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In New York, in the movie New York Stories, in the Scorsese segment, which has Nick Nolte in it. Nick Nolte plays this kind of troubled artist, this painter, really, just a very kind of emotional and angry guy. They go to see Steve Buscemi doing this one-man play, and it was the actual one-man play that
wow.
Buscemi used to do. Yeah, it's really interesting that's kind of. I would imagine it was filmed at some point, but it's great to kind of see it in this big film, you know. And
For those who don't know, he was in Fargo. He's very funny in that.
Oh,
yeah, he's a
you
classic.
know.
Yeah.
So and in Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead, he plays this hitman that I don't think has any dialogue actually, but he's very this sort of shadow figure, but he's the best at what he does.
Yes, and Cross Boardwalk Empire. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's another terrific show. Again, with a lot of these great actors, right? Bobby Cannavale and Bill Forsythe, who I really like a lot. Yeah.
Forsythe's great.
Yeah. And Jack Houston was terrific in it. He plays the hitman with the mask on his face, and that I know I think he's Angelica Houston's younger brother. I think Jack Houston, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so too.
Yeah. He's a really strong actor. He was great in that Boardwalk Empire. Really, that was a character that we really hadn't seen before in a way.
No.
Very unique. Also,
Well, it's
tortured.
just, the whole setting, it was a show unto itself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of it. How about now? Are you watching anything now that you like?
Now, The Pit.
The Pit.
The Pit.
Yeah.
I love realism. I'm not much for bigger than life. I like real. The Pit seems to be like that would really happen in an ER, and I don't know much, but I feel like it pulls me in. So,
Yeah, I like it too. I watched the first season. I think they're into the second season
Yes,
now.
just
right?
started, yeah. Yeah.
I like Landman a lot.
Landman I like a lot.
Yeah, Billy Bob.
Billy Bob is, he's one of my top favorite actors. So
I'm right there with you. Sling Blade is easily.
I'm trying to get my son to watch Sling Blade. I'm still having. You have to watch it.
Really? What's his resistance?
He didn't like anything over 20 years old.
Okay.
Oh, it's from the 90s.
Okay. Yeah, Landman is great. And I watched another thing recently that I liked because it had John Bernthal in it. Oh, His and Hers.
Don't tell me. I'm only up to the second episode.
Okay, okay, great. Him I like a lot.
I'm considering him for the lead in my new script. He's second.
I'm not surprised.
yeah,
I'm not, who's
yeah.
first?
I don't know if you recognize the name, but he's a great actor, Tom Pelphrey.
I know who he is.
You know who he is?
I know who he is.
If you've watched Ozark,
That's what I was going to say. He was recently in Ozark.
and he just did Task.
That guy is great. Yes, I know exactly who he is, and I thought Task was terrific.
He's got a certain. You could like see inside his soul when he acts. He just pulls you in. You feel what he feels. When I saw him in Ozark, I don't know if you remember when his sister, the wife, she drives him to the final destination.
Yes.
And he's just like losing it in the car.
Yeah.
Oh, I still feel that. Oh, and I was like, this guy, I didn't know who he was, and I said, I'm going to work with this guy. He's good.
I hope it comes through for you.
We'll see, man. We'll see. I got to try and get it to him.
In Task, there's also this young actress who immediately grabbed me, Amelia Jones. She played Maeve. I didn't feel like I was watching an actress. I felt like I was watching this young girl who was saddled with raising these two kids, but was so loving to them. You know, she's really terrific. I hope to see more work from her.
That's how we connect. You see the same thing. And when I watched Task, I had to pull out my phone and look up who she was. That's how much I was impressed by her.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The way when he brings home the kid, Sam, and she's immediately, almost like it was her little brother or something, she's immediately loving to him. She's never even seen him before. And she's holding him and she says, "What have you done to us?" Oh my God, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah,
I was very
I'm
impressed
grateful.
with it.
There's a lot of strong work, a lot of strong players out there.
Yeah.
And it's great, and great scripts too. You know, there's.
Well, Tom Pelphrey, like I said before, he doesn't. Maybe he will from Task, but he did Ozark maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I thought he'd be up there by now, and he's not.
Yeah.
Maybe Task will put him there, but the guy's a great actor.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. The character in my script, like I said, New York detective, who loses his job and he goes to state, but he's an Army veteran with PTSD, and his wife leaves him, and he's about to lose his job, and he can't shake what happened in Iraq, and he comes across a murderer who also served in Iraq. And these two interview happens in prison cell, and for the first time, he gets to open up.
Oh, I want to see this scene.
Yeah. So I think Tom is perfect for it. So I was like, this tough guy who breaks down.
Have you been able to reach him?
I'm not even finished the script yet.
Okay, I see. I see.
I did finish the script, but now I'm in rewrites.
He's your dream actor.
Yeah.
for
Well,
it.
when I write, I try to imagine, even for my low budget stuff, my shorts, I try to imagine an actor in the part. For some reason, it helps me with the writing. If I could picture them, I see, and then I write the dialogue. So.
Sure, I can absolutely understand that for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That's how Bill the Butcher in Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
He was picturing. He was right. He had, Daniel Day didn't want to do it, right? There's all these, he didn't want to do it, and Scorsese harangued him, and then when he finally showed him the script.
Into an Academy Award, yeah.
What
Brilliant.
another performance.
Brilliant. Daniel Day-Lewis, I mean, I don't like to pick just one, but he's top 3 actors alive. He's just incredible.
Of our time,
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
Easy. There Will Be Blood. I mean, it's, yeah. Again.
Even in Lincoln, he transformed himself. I forgot it was him.
Right. Yeah. They transcend. Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They kind of transcend performance into something else. When I was younger, I saw on Broadway the original Dreamgirls.
Okay.
With Jennifer Holliday in the lead as Effie. And it was kind of the same thing. The first act closed with her singing, "And I'm Telling You I'm Not Going." And I'm telling you, Don, I have never.
I can imagine.
It was, that kind of
Touched you.
awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
People were just so brought down. The house was so brought down by it. These things, they happen rarely. They happen rarely where it's the right person in the right role at the right time, but there's something intangible, right? Something unnameable about it. It just, creates something else. Something else is going on here.
And I think it goes back to the very first words I said here, I think. They take you on a journey.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You just leave, you're there. You forgot about everything else,
Yeah.
That's why I do film. It's just, you want to go there.
So how can people find you? If they want to look at your work, they want to maybe, reach out to you, how can they find you?
Instagram, I have Close Films. That's my Instagram account. I usually post the films that are coming out on there. That's basically it.
And I know you have an IMDb page.
Yeah, Internet Movie Database, IMDb, is the internet source to look up any actor or director or people out there. You could see what I've done, what's coming out. Besides it lists not only what you did, but there's an upcoming section. It'll list what stuff's going on now. We'll see what happens. My next script, if I get Tom Pelphrey, the movie's called Pitbull. The character in jail is called Pitbull, and again, the actor for that I'm looking for is Stephen Graham. I know he is from Adolescence. Yeah,
Another
yeah.
monster talent,
Yes.
also in Gangs of New York.
Yes. So Pitbull is 5'5", thick neck, built like a pit bull. He's the man. He's the murderer in jail, and he's the one that Tom Pelphrey's character starts to open up to. So those are the two.
If they're listening, Stephen Graham, Tom Pelphrey, please reach out. I loved Graham as his Capone in Boardwalk Empire. I thought was terrific too.
Yes, and he's great. But that one moment at the end of Adolescence, and when he's in the bedroom, I had a tear in my eye. I was like, "Woof."
Yeah.
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 So,
Again, right? It's just something unnameable, but yeah. So,
but the thing is, like I said, with Pelphrey, is I'm not just looking for tough guys, but a tough guy who can all of a sudden just pull you in. Not just be the big brute, but you can see the other side of them.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
There's nothing more depressing than a guy who's tough as nails and mean as dirt.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the thing too, yeah, and as a writer who's also an actor, you want to make these characters three-dimensional. You know what I mean? Not just one, he's just a bad guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I try to find the different levels that everybody really has. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So even for Pitbull and Tom Pelphrey's character, they come across as these he-men, but then you see the other side of them. So, yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing this produced, and I'm really grateful, Don, to you for making the time to be here. I love to talk movies, and
it was a pleasure being here. Man.
Yeah.
Good time. I didn't know what to expect, but it was pretty cool. So
I want to wish you continued success for sure.
Great.
And so, everybody, once again, thanks for being a guest here on Conversations with Jonas. Please be well. All the best.